Send it out in front, and Bussi! Oh, my goodness, with a huge save. Rebound picked up by Carolina. Brandon Bussi. Canes still need to clear, but what a save by Bussi to keep this scoreless. Aho coming up with a puck. He's going to draw a penalty, and they score! As Bussi's heading to the bench, it's Walker delivering a laser, and the Canes on Sean Walker's first of the year go up 1-0. Goodrow with it now, trying to stuff it out in front. Bussi robbing Goaltending, and now Carolina sending this in. Robinson's onside. Robinson, he scores! A little backhander, and Eric Robinson, he stays red hot. His second of the season, and it's a 3-1 lead, Carolina.
Well, didn't start well for Carolina. I mean, it wasn't damaging, but it wasn't their best start of the season. But it certainly was great progressively as the game wore on. Hi, everybody. It's the Canes Corner podcast, and I am Adam Gold, and it is late. Hope everybody is well. Canes After Dark. We should really play like Barry White throughout it, but we're not allowed. We don't have licensing for using that on a podcast. I could sing Barry White. Never mind. We won't do that. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If you can, if it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sam Meehan and his crew do a great job. In fact, you see some of their work behind me. Of course, it is not finished. They just started yesterday, but we're inside and under construction. Then there's some stuff going on. Normally we do this from the screened-in porch, but that room is sort of torn apart as they get ready to do some work out there too. Anyway, so windows. It's not, even though I'm inside, windows are inside and outside. Never mind, you don't want to hear about that. Let's talk about the game tonight. 5-1 Carolina wins. Didn't start off well. I mean, this is the summary of the night. Slow start. Brandon Bussi. Yeah. Brandon Bussi keeps it level. Didn't have Brandon Bussi being the first star of the game on my bingo card tonight. In fact, I thought we were due for a gong show of a game. I thought Carolina would score. They put 5 on the board. But I thought San Jose would score too. And it looked like they were going to in the first period. Bussi was spectacular. Carolina, who did somehow outshoot the Sharks 14-8 in the first period. I thought they were terrible in the first period. Non-threatening in the first period. I thought the only good scoring chance Carolina had was the Aho shorthanded try. But he was slashed on the play, so even that was minimized by the penalty. And they didn't score. But in the second period, especially as we got a little bit deeper, even though Carolina scored early, Sean Walker making it 1-0. You heard the Walker goal there. But I thought Carolina really got to it like middle of the period and started leaning on San Jose. It was 1-1, but Carolina just started to impose their will. And I actually thought that from the second half of the second period on, I thought Carolina was in full flight. Like all 4 lines going. I thought we started to see more from the Aho line in terms of scoring danger. Like on the low, the rudimentary possession stats made the Aho line look great even in the first period, but nobody looked good in the first period. They just, I don't know, got credited for a lot more shots on goal. I didn't think it was good first period at all, even though they outshot the Sharks 14-8. But the second period was much better. Obviously, they scored 3 times. And then the third period was one of those periods that Carolina has often, which is just a defensive puck possession clinic. Entering the third period down 3-1, you expected the Sharks to push. And maybe they did. But who could tell? No shots on goal. 0. Carolina didn't have a lot either, but they scored twice. And it was a thorough third period, just suffocation. And that's what you're going to see from Carolina a lot. But all in all, start the road trip with a really strong performance. Again, first period, not so good. Second period, very good. Third period, dominant. Yeah, San Jose is probably going to be, one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the league. But if you looked at the game, there's talent there. Celebrini, I don't think Michael Misa, the second overall pick this past June, I didn't think he made a great impact or any impact in the game at all. I thought he had one shot on goal early, but he didn't look like somebody that demanded your attention. Celebrini was good. Toffoli was good. Will Smith could have had 3 goals tonight, and he ended up with none. Wenberg's a good player. I think there's some talent there. And there's some good veterans. Wenberg's a veteran. Dmitry Orlov, I thought, was fairly effective tonight. And Alex Nedeljkovic made some nice saves. I think Ned probably wants the first goal back, the Walker goal. If Freddie Anderson had allowed that goal, we'd have had Danish cookies. So I thought that Carolina kept pushing, but I don't think San Jose is in terms of their personnel. I don't think they're terrible. The thing is, they're so young. It's just going to take time for them to figure it out. But they had opportunities to score early and couldn't because, Brandon Bussi. This is really a remarkable story. 3 years of college hockey, 4 years in the minors, the last 3 essentially a timeshare in Providence with the Bruins. And he played about half the time. I think in 3 years, he made 103 starts. He won 60 of them. His goals, his save percentage was .915 in that period. It's pretty good in the American Hockey League. But we hadn't seen him play. Carolina claimed him off waivers after the preseason schedule was over. And they only claimed him because they kind of felt that Caden Primo was a risk to go through waivers. We could have easily seen Carolina keep Caden Primo and not expose him to waivers. But at some point, they were probably going to do it because you don't want to keep 3 goalies here. You wanted to send one to the minor leagues, and that was going to be Primo, who, by the way, started, I don't know if he played well or not because I didn't see the game, started for Toronto tonight in a 7-4 win over Nashville. He gave up 4 goals, but again, he might have played really well for all we know. But the Hurricanes needed a goalie. Apparently, Paul Schoenfelder, the goaltending coach, liked him, wanted him. Hurricanes claimed him, and then were really behind it because they knew if they exposed him to waivers, Florida would probably just claim him back. So they kept him. And then Pyotr Kochetkov comes up lame and can't start the season. And Brandon Bussi does this tonight with his family and his fiance in the stands in San Jose. Absolutely just very, very cool. Couple of quick shout outs. Charlotte, Bluefield, West Virginia. We had multiple Charlottes. We're going to give you the international contingent in a minute. Wendell, that's sort of international. Vero Beach, DC, Cali Caniacs checking in. Bolivia, North Carolina. Fayetteville, College Station, Texas. Nice. Cary, Wilmington, Seattle. Shouts to you, Talia. But internationally speaking, Liechtenstein. Love it. Love Liechtenstein. Florence, Italy, not Florence, South Carolina. Although I have been to Florence, South Carolina recently, and it's not awesome. Let's see. Yokosuka, Japan. Nice. Vinsobre, France? Did I pronounce that right? And Adelaide Hills, Australia. We're huge in Adelaide Hills. Shouts to you, Mikhailov. All right. Back to some other things I wanted to discuss here in our time here in the Canes Corner podcast. No Slavin for this whole trip. He won't be around. And again, I think I said this after Saturday's game when, to me, there were a lot of things to talk about Saturday. But for me, the biggest story was Jaccob Slavin didn't play a ton. He didn't play late, didn't play in the overtime. And to me, that was alarming because if he's on the bench, if he's in a uniform, he's playing. And he's probably playing more than anybody else. But that was not the case on Saturday. And so you knew something was up. And the Hurricanes have been pretty coy about it. And I don't know how long he's going to be out. But my conversation with Rod Brindamore today made it seem like they don't expect him at all during this road trip. And that might not be the end of it. Now, maybe when the Hurricanes come home, I think it's the 28th to play Vegas, maybe he's in the lineup for that. I don't know. But more likely, it's not a return for Jaccob Slavin then. And the head coach is never going to do this. He's not going to keep Slavin out longer than, he's not going to go, well, we're just going to make sure he's 96%, but I would really like that extra 4%. As soon as Jaccob Slavin can play, the head coach is going to want to play him. But let me just say it this way. If I'm the Hurricanes, I am not letting Jaccob Slavin play until he's 100%. Could the Canes give up, we'll just use a NASCAR term, could they give up track position if they don't play well enough without Slavin? And chances are you're going to lose a game here or there that you might otherwise win because the best defensive defenseman in the sport isn't in your lineup. Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, it didn't happen tonight. But again, they did not play the top echelon of teams, which is about to happen, by the way. My opinion, Anaheim's playoff good. The Kings, not off to a great start. Vegas, Dallas, or Colorado, Dallas. The last three of those teams are absolutely Stanley Cup contenders. And I still think LA is, but maybe to a lesser extent than the other three teams. So there are 5 good matchups coming up on this road trip. And I believe we are Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday to wrap up the road trip and then back home on Tuesday. So there's a lot of good teams ahead of us on this road trip, and we're not going to have Jaccob Slavin for it. But Mike Riley provided depth, and he, by the way, made a ridiculously good pass tonight for the Eric Robinson goal. We'll explain that in a minute. But I think the story tonight was Sean Walker. I think Keandre Miller has been excellent through 3 games. Not really noticeable that much tonight, but that's a good thing because he just simply did his job. And look, it's hard. He's actually playing Slavin's spot right now. And it's hard for Miller, who knows what a great defenseman looks like. And I talked to him about playing with Slavin. And I mean, he dresses basically right next to him. And Jaccob sets an amazing example for everybody as a defensive-minded player about what the position is about. And Miller gets it. And Miller knew that he was standing in for him and will do so the rest of the time that Slavin is out. It was just really good tonight. And Sean Walker took his game up a notch. Here, the funny thing is that I didn't think Walker was good at all in the first game. I thought Walker struggled to play with Slavin against the Devils. But I think he was good against Philadelphia. And I think he was great tonight. And he was great before the goal. So, like, the numbers through 3 periods for Sean Walker are not wow. They're good, really good. Let me just give you the combined Walker-Miller numbers. They led Carolina's blue line in ice time, but ultimately the number's not crazy, even though it was through 2 periods. Through 2 periods, Walker and Miller were on pace to play about 26, 27 minutes apiece. Now, Rod Brind'Amour didn't use them a lot in the 3rd period, so the numbers stayed at 21-44 for Walker, 22-32 for Miller. They combined for 3 hits. They combined for 4 blocked shots. There were 5 shots on goal, and they were combined to +2. But through 2 periods, here was Walker. 17 minutes, 10 shot attempts, 3 on goal, 2 hits, 2 blocked shots, and, of course, the goal. That was just through 2 periods. If he had done what he did through those 2 periods, played about 8.5 minutes, then we are talking about somebody who is playing 25.5. So that was the pace they were on. So Walker and Miller just didn't play a lot in the 3rd period because especially after they scored early, because Carolina was in cruise control. Now let me go to the second Hurricanes defensive pairing. Alexander Nikishin and Shayne Gostisbehere. So there's a lot of things we could talk about. I'm going to talk about 2 specific things. And even though Ghost scored the goal and he was great again, it's been a really pleasant start to the season for Shayne Gostisbehere. There were 2 things that Nikesian did that were just dynamite. First one happened in the 1st period, and it was pretty subtle. But Adam Gaudette was about to come in on Brandon Bussi. And Nikesian just kind of reached around with the stick and took the puck away. Started the other way. It didn't result in a threatening scoring chance, but he erased one. And then after trying to remember who it was exactly, who took down Gostisbehere. I mean, they were really just penalties, and the penalties were called. There was a roughing and a trip. Nikesian didn't like it. So he stood up for Shayne. And look, it wasn't a big deal. They didn't throw hands. But I thought it was a pretty subtly good defensive move and a nice little check to the midsection on the side. I mean, I kind of dug it. I kind of dug what I saw from Nikesian tonight. I also think that 3 games in, and I think he's got a point in each game, but 3 games in, there is a lot to love about what we've seen. Now, before we lose our minds and start talking about where he belongs in the lineup, he belongs exactly where he is, which is guarded. Rod Brind'Amour is going to protect him until he knows that he can handle heavy minutes against the best players. Right now, he and Gostisbehere, although they did get second pair time on ice tonight, although everybody did based on the score. I think Rod's going to continue to protect him, continue to try to control who he gets matched up with. Of course, on the road, he's not going to be able to. And that will be different when the scene shifts to Anaheim and then LA and then Vegas. And now we get into the big boys, Colorado and Dallas, on this road trip. So there's going to be, and not Vegas is a big boy too, but I think those other, there's a lot of danger everywhere. So just like Nikeshin, you can't control who he plays against at that point. I guess we can say the same thing for Logan Stankoven, who I think got bossed in the face-off circle tonight. I think I saw 1 out of 10. I saw the one he won. It was on a power play. Carolina's power play wasn't great tonight, but I think it got better, sort of. But look, everything's a work in progress. You got a whole bunch of guys in. It's just a little bit different. I'm not going to panic about it right now. I'll panic about it, after 15 games of the season. That's when I'll really start to go, oh, okay, this is no good. We'll see how it is. Penalty kill was good tonight, 5 out of 5. Of course, a lot of that was Brandon Bussi, who was amazing. I just for giggles, because I tried to highlight the Brandon Bussi goals. So there was an early save on Dmitry Orlov with the glove. There was a save on Michael Misa, again, that is 18-year-old who played tonight. And they could send him back to his junior team after 9 games. My question is, what is he going to learn there? He scored 62 goals in 65 games. He doesn't need to be with his junior team. Then he didn't stop Jeff Skinner on a breakaway, but he did force Skinner wide, and Skinner's try hit the outside of the post. So, but I think you give, even though it's not a save, you give Bussi credit for the play, because I think he was excellent. Now, Skinner ended up drawing a penalty, and on that penalty was the best save of the night. And you heard it when he went side to side to rob Will Smith. On the power play, pass across, I believe, from Tyler Toffoli. I mean, I don't know, 7 times out of 10, that's a goal. Bussi got over, smothered it, stayed scoreless. Then he had another save on Will Smith, and Tyler Toffoli had a great rebound try, and he shot it wide. I think he was under duress, but there were tons of chances in the first period. He robbed Alex Wenberg in the second. There was a shorthanded save on Barclay Goodrow. Another save on the goal scorer tonight, William Eklund. Then he got Skinner again, and then the save on Adam Gaudette late that ultimately ended up in the Riley pass to Robinson for the third goal of the second period. I mean, it's just an outstanding save. And I thought there was, like, doesn't take a genius to go, wow, that guy played great. In his first NHL start, absolutely played great. So we've talked about 2 defensive pairs, and maybe we didn't dig in enough on Gostisbehere, but we're kind of running short on time. But they were really good tonight. Again, no Jaccob Slavin. We won't have them all road trip. I talked about the Riley pass, the save, the gather by Riley, the long distance call to Eric Robinson, who stays on side, and then kind of lunging, pokes it past Nedeljkovic with the on his backhand side. It was a great goal. And I know we're going to sit here, and obviously not much longer, but we're going to lament how much time certain guys play versus how much time certain other guys play. all you can do is try to make an impact in the time you've got. So they ended up playing a little bit more than 10 minutes. I think Eric Robinson played either 11 or 12. Jankowski a little bit more, making his first start. But every single time, Taylor, Robinson, we'll get to the top guys in a minute. But those guys, the stall line, every single time they were on the ice, even though they didn't play a ton, they're noticeable. And if you only play 12 minutes, man, make the best of 12 minutes. And that's what Robinson is doing right now. That's what Hall is doing right now. And real quick, I don't know if we covered this here or not, or if I just tweeted about it. Late in the second period, Rod switched Taylor Hall and Andrei Svechnikov. I thought Andrei really struggled the first half of this game. Puck management issues were getting him. Bad passes, things like that. But after the switch, I don't know, maybe it's me being hopeful that things turn around for Andrei. But after the switch, I thought Andrei was very good. And somebody had mentioned maybe Andrei will play simply more direct, playing with Jankowski and Robinson. And maybe that's what happened. But all I know is I saw a better version of Svechnikov after the demotion to the fourth line. And again, I keep calling it Carolina's third scoring line because it should score. And it did tonight, right? Robinson has the goal. Hey, look, the stall line scored a goal too. That was Will Carrier. First of all, Martinook's pass to Nikesian was excellent, creative, and Nikeshin had to do a lot to settle it down and make a play. Nearly shoulda, woulda, coulda scored, but ultimately Carrier comes in, crashes the net, the puck is there, he pokes it in. Honestly, I don't know if he put it in the net or if his force forced a defenseman to put it into his own net. If it turns out where somebody else gets the goal, fine. But it's probably not going in were it not for Will Carrier being aggressive in the goal mouth, going after the puck. There's so many good things about tonight. Again, the stall line has been good and then became great late really in the third period. The Aho line could have scored, but I thought the second half of the game, they did everything but. There were scoring chances galore for them. They'll start going. It is when you've got creative players, when you've got scorers, and to a certain extent, Aho, Jarvis, and Ehlers have very similar body types. They're not huge people, but they're all great. And I thought the second half of the game, we saw a very good top line for Carolina. Now, the Stankoven line, also good early, great the rest of the way. And once again, Jackson Blake just makes plays. The play in his own end, take a hit to make a play. That's what really hockey is. And the players who are not willing to do it have their ability limited. But Blake, who's a super smart player, knew the hit was coming. He certainly defended himself from further, from any damage. He didn't get hurt. But he gets the puck up to Taylor Hall, who skates it in, hesitates just enough to get a passing lane to Stankoven, who wheeled and knew that he had Gostisbehere in the slot. Good pass. Ghost didn't waste any time. He made it 4-1. And then the 5-1 goal is the Jackson Blake goal. Remember, he made the previous play without getting on the score sheet. But the 5-1 goal is the one that goes from Chatfield across to Blake, who just didn't waste any time. And I think Tripp said on the TV broadcast that Nedeljkovic just couldn't catch up because it's good, quick puck movement. And there we are. The Brandon Bussi game. Phenomenal. All right. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Look at that. All over the place. On Hamlin Road in Durham, no place like it. Sam Meehan and his crew do a great job. Check them out at aluminumcompany.com. We'll do this again on Thursday after the Hurricanes and the, what are they called? The Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks. Until Canes After Dark. Sweet dreams.